This is Sean Harris from Broken Neck Radio, and I'm here with the man from the Dayglo Abortions. He is the Cretin, and he is Murray Acton. How are you doing today?
Cheers. Doing good. A little bit early, but we're doing just fine.
Yeah, it's a little bit early
Actually,
in the morning.
what time is it anyway? I don't even know.
9:30?
9:30? Yeah. Woo! It's pretty early.
Especially if you've been out drinking last night, right?
Nah, I wasn't.
Okay.
Taking good care of myself these days.
That's good. So you guys have not put out an album in quite some time, like a fresh, brand new studio album with new songs. It's been the better part of 10 years since.
Yeah, approximately something like that. A decade. That's what we do once a decade, you know. We're not that. Not the most productive band on earth, I will admit.
But you guys have one coming out possibly this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, we would hope so, because we've been led to believe it's been coming out for a couple of years now. But
yeah.
When it comes out, apparently no. Apparently we will have copies of it, 30 copies apparently, or a limited number available at the show coming up in Vancouver next week.
Very nice.
And what I've just been told is some remastered, re-released versions of Fetus as well.
Beauty.
So the first and the last.
That's awesome. That show coming up in about a week or so.
Yeah, I think the 11th in Vancouver at Funky's there, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I just wanted to ask you, the recording process back when you were doing, say, Fetus, and then the recording process now. Obviously, the technology has changed over the years, but what's some of the big differences nowadays?
Well, it's funny. I mean, a lot of the stuff is, this last one we used, Rob Shellcross came in and was manning the controls there, and he's big on analog. So we actually did record on 2-inch, 30 inches per second analog decks, same as we did. Actually, no, the first one wasn't done on a 2-inch deck. The first one was done on a 1-inch 16-track Tascam deck. These new ones, I don't know. I think they were IRCs or something, big 2-inch high-end machine there. But of course, today, once you've recorded your bed tracks, you dump it all to digital and do all the editing in digital, and do the guitar overdubs. I think are done in digital. Maybe not. No, I think you actually recorded everything in analog.
He's pretty old school.
Oh, as much as possible. Yeah, and I'll tell you, the product was well worth it. Listening to it, it's just a whole nother league. It's indescribable, the difference in quality between everything else we've done and what in the new one. He's really done an amazing job, and that's more to do with his abilities than the gear, I think, really, because anybody has access to the same gear these days for the most part.
Exactly.
Excluding the mics in the room that it was recorded in. It was a beautiful studio that we went into there. The Armories in Vancouver is a...
Armory in Vancouver, yeah.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous. It's probably the best one at least in the Canadian West Coast anyway.
How was just working with Rob, especially on the new album? What can people expect from this new album, seeing that there hasn't been one in so long?
Well, it was, I had a desire. I mean, I try and get a theme going on with the records and stuff like that, and I've been working on this Armageddon thing since Armageddon.
Which one? Which Armageddon?
Well, the 2012 one there, you know. And, of course, that came and went, so I've had actually a couple of album ideas since then. And then suddenly I got it sprang on me. I only had a few weeks, really, to get it all together. And I had some songs, it was a little bit of a ragtag accumulation of songs that were from various different things. I didn't really have a coherent theme, and I actually wanted to call the album Kill Stephen Harper. But well, it's just as good anyway, because he's come and gone now too.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So I'm having a hard time with these titles, but the guys from Unrest said, "Oh, geez, I kind of like that Armageddon Survival Guide one," and I was like, "Oh, well, geez, we should have. Where were you 3 years ago, for Christ's sake, you know?" But,
yeah, I know, right?
But anyway, I did, for some reason, it just sort of lucked out. I wanted to keep the songs simple, and I've been on this for a while to try and get. Like, we've gone through various phases where we started off. The first album was really kind of a parody of punk rock in a way, except I didn't really pay much attention to what punk rock was all about.
Right.
And I kind of had this, I grew up in the 70s with Black Sabbath and the jazz fusion bands and prog rock and all of that kind of stuff, So I kind of had this concept in my head that punk rock was essentially really fast prog rock with a bunch of swearing in it or something like that, And so I ended up with this kind of metal kind of fast metal hybrid kind of thing like that going on. And I was very self-conscious initially. I thought everybody'd hate it, and they did at first, actually. They seem to have sort of come around, I guess. And that was my desire. The new stuff is sort of like the old stuff, except it's, of course, 35 years later, we play differently. There's been a lot of more other influences and things like that, so we're definitely way fucking heavier. I mean, it's heavy. It's like if you took maybe our first recording, which was Out of the Womb, and crossed it with like Rain and Blood or something like that. That's about what me and Rob are saying. We're calling it Out of the Womb crossed with Rain and Blood, and it's intense. A lot of it has to do with Blind Mark too, the drummer. He's laid down just the sickest, most aggressive punk rock drumming tracks I've ever heard. Really, there's something else. He doesn't fool around. There's no double stroke and nothing like that. He just beats the fucking hell out of his drum set. And
That's awesome.
And it really is. It's like a black eye, for Christ's sake. It's unreal.
That's awesome. How's it recording and playing as a three-piece? Is it much different from having more personnel in the band, and how do you feel about it?
Well, we started as a three-piece. We've gone from a three-piece to having three guitar players, and back and forth. I really like playing as a three-piece because there's some neat aspects of it. One of them is when it gets to a solo, it breaks down to just drums and bass, and everything sort of stands out really good like that. I mean, there's definitely a heaviness that you can get with extra guitars and stuff, but it also kind of tends to muddy things out a little bit. It's hard to keep it tight. We do have guys that play with us and stuff like that. Mike Jack comes out still. Mike Jack was on the recording. So we're actually two guitars on the recording. And we've got guys that come out and play with us and things like that as well too. And I'm getting old too. I'm taking a beating. My hands are falling apart and shit like that. So I got no aversion to getting somebody to come in and play guitar with me and take a bit of the load off sometimes,
No doubt. After all the years and some of the bands you've toured with over the years, who are some of those bands that you've really enjoyed touring with in the last 30 years or so?
Oh God, I got to admit the guys I really had fun with was Verbal Abuse. They're stellar. They're such an awesome band and really good dudes and shit like that. I was quite impressed with them. Like Nicky Sicky there, he's just the bomb, man. The guy is everything, and he's in one of the first punk bands out of Texas there, and he's still fucking rocking. He's actually a couple of years younger than I am even. But But then there's guys like friends of ours, like the Goalers and shit like that from Vancouver, man. Awesome hardcore band. Those guys,
great.
They got like the best of grind and the best of hardcore going on there. Just a fucking great band. One of my favorites. Really one of my favorite bands going for a really heavy band.
No doubt.
Lots of good bands, We played with The Accused a few times and stuff like that. And I got along quite well with some members of The Accused. Others were difficult, but we played some hella good shows and stuff like that, and had some funny damn stories to come out of that Accused show. Ones that can't be repeated in public either.
Right. Speaking of some of those stories, say on a tour from shows, what are some of the crazy ones that you are allowed to speak of?
Oh God, I could tell you shit that would make your hair curl. I mean, it's difficult because you can only really talk about stuff that doesn't involve other people, really,
Right.
Because it wouldn't be fair to bring someone else into the story. God knows where it could end up. The rule that happens on the road stays on the road, as they say. But there's lots of crazy shit. I've had guys. God, I've had stuff that I can't even repeat because it'll get myself in trouble. I mean, I've done some crazy things. No end of fucking weirdness going on there.
Oh my goodness.
I generally try and be respectful to other people for the most part, as much as humanly possible, and I'd never want to do anything to fucking intentionally cause pain or mental or physical distress to another person, really.
Yeah.
And that's what I sort of lived that by. I wouldn't want anybody to do anything to anybody that I wouldn't well, actually, no, that's not fair. There's all kinds of things that I've done to myself that I wouldn't do to another person. You get hard, and your tolerances, you start to build up some pretty intense tolerances after a while, I guess,
Yeah, no doubt. It definitely takes a toll on your body after all these years.
Nah, fuck, I'm in pretty good shape for my age, actually. That's what I was doing last night. I just went and rode 15 miles around town and shit like that.
Oh, perfect.
Just to wear myself out. I try and go on a good 15 or 20 mile bike ride at least once a day and shit like that. I could.
Good shape.
Yeah, I'm in pretty good shape considering I've cut way back on any of the stuff that I do. I still smoke a few cigarettes and shit like that occasionally, but I'm out of smokes right now, and I'm broke as a joke. So I'm a little bitchy, needless to say.
All good, man. Well, over the last 25 or 30 years, it's been a real trip, and I'm really stoked for that new album. Hopefully, it comes out soon. And what can the fans expect on March 11th at that funky show?
Oh, we're going to be kicking some ass. We got it down pretty good right now. We got a bunch of the new. We're going to play the majority of the new album at it and stuff like that, and some weird old ones that we haven't. That's where we've been trying to bring back some of the old ones. We got lazy for a while there and let a lot of songs slip that I'd really like to play. So I've been slowly trying to bring them back in there one at a time, trying to surprise people. We pulled a couple of good ones off at the Zimmer's Hole show there.
Yeah.
Last month there, got my friend Dan Scum to come down and sing Dragons and Fuck Satan to Death. That was fucking good fun. Got a big cheer out of the crowd when we started off with those ones. He fucking tore it up too. It was dynamite. It was super funny.
That was
super
a rad
funny.
show.
That's what I like to do. I like to look at everybody and see that big smile on everybody's face.
Yeah.
That's when we know we're all having fun, you know?
Yeah, that was a really rad show. I was there for the Victoria and the Vancouver shows. How did you enjoy Zimmer's Hole and their comeback show?
Fuck it, we went away, man. They were. I had really not any concept that they were as funny as they actually were.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there cracking jokes about how, we're here for the comedy relief and shit. I didn't realize those guys were the kings of the comedy there. Fuck it.
Oh.
And it was good to see Jed. It's been a long, long time since I'd seen Jed. And the last time we were doing anything together was pretty hilarious circumstances. And so it was good to see those guys and shit. And they're all stand-up guys, too. You know, you can't fucking help but love that shit. It was so much fun.
Oh, I know. That's the motto that they have is they're funny, but it ain't no joke.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. No, they're serious about what they do. You can't fucking knock that. I mean, there's a bunch of serious pros there. And but holy smokes, what a riot. That entire show was really fun. There was some good bands playing at it. And I had a gas. I had so much fun. Everybody there had fun. That was probably the show of the year, I think.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, had such a great time there. Well, enjoy the March 11th show, and it was been great to talk to you,
man, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for this, and I'll see you again soon.
No worries, for sure.